The Hull series is an interesting one within the MISC lineup, as well as one of the more interesting series in the industrial ships category overall. In this video, I want to discuss the Hull C, as it is the next ship in this lineup to enter the persistent universe. If you have already purchased this ship, or if you are on the fence, I hope this video will be helpful to you in making your final decision, or simply better understanding the ship you already have in your hangar on the RSI website. A few disclaimers. I will only be able to share the information that is currently available about this ship, and it is worth noting and keeping in mind that CIG will most certainly dive deeper into this ship and any potential new details there is to know in the very near future. We are expecting to see this ship enter the persistent universe this year, so now is a great time to discuss what we might expect. Here's the content and information for what you will find in this video. We'll start by talking about the entire Hull series of ships. We'll follow that up with number 2, where we'll discuss where the Hull C fits within the overall series. Number 3, we'll talk about who the Hull C is for. And number 4, we'll talk about the Hull C's current competition. We'll finish all that up with my final thoughts. So let's begin. Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern, MISC or MISC being the acronym, is the manufacturer responsible for the Hull series of ships. This series consists of 5 industrial-centric ships and are delineated by a letter system ranging from A to E. A being the starter or smallest of the group, where E is the most grand of them all. Each version of the Hull series caters to a specific group of people or players. For this video, we are discussing the Hull C, the one right in the middle of the pack and one that will most likely be the most common of them all. To set the tone, allow me to give a brief primer on what this ship series is designed for in the overall game. Simply stated, these are dedicated cargo haulers and trade vessels. Each one caters to that profession at a different scale, with greater and greater SCU capacity and cargo box sizes. I consider the Hull series to cater to players from a range of single solo haulers all the way to the largest of orgs in the game, organizations. These ships will be some of, if not the most logistical workhorses in the game. Now, the Hull C is the middle child of the Hull series and what many may consider to be the sweet spot. There are some key details about the Hull C that make it nuanced in the grand picture of this profession. As mentioned earlier, according to CIG, this is the most common version of the Hull series, and understandably so. It is both accessible for smaller groups of players, as well as the entry point for larger scale hauling and trading operations. So for this reason, I consider it to be the sweet spot of the Hull series as well. The minimum crew requirements for this ship is 2 people, with a max of 4 that it can officially support. Now, it is important to make a note here of the fact that the crew size designation is more than just a recommendation. When ship resource management comes online, one of the important aspects of that is life support. Now, this will determine how many people the ship can accommodate for things like oxygen and other life support functions. So the crew size range for the Hull C is 2 to 4 players. Also be mindful that all ship stat values can change, and CIG will provide the final details for this ship when it gets released and over time beyond that. For now, the Hull C can carry a maximum of 4,608 SCU of cargo. To put this into perspective, the other Hull series ships' cargo capacities are shown on the screen. The Hull C is a giant leap from the ones that come before it in the Hull A and B, yet it is equally significantly less than its larger counterparts. Now, the Hull C is for players whose focus is on cargo hauling and transport, and they are fairly committed to that gameplay loop. It is also for smaller organizations who want to get started in larger scale cargo hauling and trading operations overall. So in my opinion, it's a late game ship for the solo player or very small groups of players. For small to medium-sized cargo-focused organizations, it's a starter ship for their cargo hauling and trading aspirations. I also believe it's a great ship to have for any organization, as it can be a great support and logistics-focused ship for many different types of operations. For what we have today in regard to any information on SCU cargo capacity, the Hull C currently sits at the 4th highest overall ship cargo capacity in the entire game. We know this will change with new ship concepts and entries into the Star Citizen universe. So for now, it stands alone in regard to dedicated cargo haulers and trader ships at this particular ship size. The Hull C right now has more cargo capacity than the Kraken and a little less than the Javelin. This lets you know how dedicated the Hull series of ships are for moving cargo. So we will have to revisit this question in the future. So if you are considering the Hull C to add to your fleet and you are a solo player or one to play in smaller groups, be mindful that it is mostly designed for the most dedicated of haulers and traders as mentioned earlier. If that is your primary goal in Star Citizen, or maybe simply very high up on your list of desired things to do, then I would recommend it. If you primarily play in a small to mid-sized group or organization, then this may be a great consideration for being a staple in your org's fleet, depending on what your org does or plans to do in the final game. If any of it requires the moving of items, materials, commodities, and other things around the verse, then this is definitely a ship you may want to consider. Now, if you are in a larger organization, this may be a great entry point into cargo hauling and trading for that org before considering the bigger hull ships in the series. Now, as of today, the Hull A is currently in the game, and I believe CIG has set it to be purchasable in-game when Alpha 3.18 is released, if indeed you want to get a taste of what it's like to fly a Hull ship. The Hull C is planned to release soon this year if all information available today is accurate. Now, if this was helpful to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Also, please hit the notification bell to be notified of my future videos. That is all for me. Happy gaming to you, and I will see you in the next video.